everybody, it's Scott Shetler here at Extreme Performance Training Systems. Today I want to look at an exercise that I use with a lot of grapplers and fighters that I work with. It's called the Bradford press, and the goal with this exercise is to improve shoulder health and function. Now, a lot of the grapplers and fighters that I train have some pretty beat up shoulders. It's just the mileage that they accumulate training and competing in their sport. Injuries are usually inevitable. So one of the things that we've really focused on in here is we've gotten away from really heavy pressing, heavy overhead pressing, heavy bench pressing, and things like that. In most of the exercises that we do for the shoulders and the chest that involve pressing, we typically use the repetition method for. We're typically focused on building muscular endurance or just bringing back strength and function to those specific areas and those joints. So like I said, the shoulders tend to get a lot of mileage and get beat up pretty bad. One of my favorite exercises that I found for the shoulders is the Bradford press. Now, the Bradford press is an exercise that is a shoulder press, but it really opens up the shoulder because you start with the bar in the front of the body, you press high enough just to clear the head, and then you bring the bar down behind the head in a behind the neck press fashion. The key with this is, and the biggest mistake that I see people make when I watch videos of people doing the Bradford press, is that to get the bar behind the head, they typically poke the head forward and then bring the bar down behind it. And what I want to make a note of is what we want to do is actually bring the elbows back together behind the body and stretch the chest open to bring the bar behind the head. So when you do this, you don't want to press the bar up in front of the body, bring it down behind the head by poking the head forward. What you want to do is squeeze the elbows back and contract the shoulder blades together like you're doing a barbell row exercise. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate a few reps of the movement, and then I also want to talk a little bit about why we prefer the Bandbell bar when we do this exercise. So you're going to take a normal shoulder press grip on the bar. You're going to bring it out and start with it at your collarbone. You're going to press just high enough to clear the head, and then once you get here, you're going to squeeze those elbows back behind the body to lower the bar back behind the head to the shoulders, and then finish the press by bringing it back to the front of the body. So again, you're going to press just high enough to clear your head, squeeze the elbows back behind the body, lower the bar back to the shoulders, keeping constant tension on the shoulders. You don't want to relax at any point in the lift, and then press again just high enough to get the bar over the head, bring it back to the front of the body. Like I said, one of the biggest points when you're doing this is to keep constant tension on the muscle. You don't want to bring the bar down and rest it on your back like you're holding a squat bar. You want to keep those shoulders tight. You want to squeeze those shoulder blades together to pull the elbows behind the body as you're lowering the bar behind the head. Typically, I find somewhere in the ballpark of about 5 to 7, maybe 8 reps is usually good for this exercise. And one rep is starting with the bar at the chest, pressing it behind the head, down to the shoulders, and then back up and over. So one full cycle is 1 rep. Now, I did mention that I prefer to use the Bandbell bar on this exercise. If you're not familiar with the Bandbell bar, the Bandbell bar is a great exercise or a great device to use if you got shoulder issues, because it's made out of bamboo. And as you can see here, the weights are loaded by taking weight plates, or we'll use kettlebells sometimes, and hanging them on the bar with bands. All right, so when you're lifting, the bands kind of jump, the weights jump on the bands, and they kind of swing around, and it creates a chaotic vibrational effect on the bar. When that happens is, what happens there is it forces the muscles to activate to the highest potential, so it creates maximum muscular contractions in the muscles that you're trying to work. So when we're talking about using the shoulders here for this exercise, as that bar, as you're pressing it, and the weight starts shaking and the bar starts vibrating, you're really bringing into play a lot of the smaller muscles, the stabilizers and things around the shoulders, as well as the primary movers. So not only are you working the deltoids, but it's bringing into play the rotator cuff. Obviously, you're working the triceps, you're working your torso from a stabilization standpoint, so you got to really squeeze the glutes, you really got to brace the abs. And it's a really great bar to use for a lot of your pressing variations. Like I said, particularly with the grapplers and the fighters that I train, the Bandbell bar is probably one of our most used barbells in here. Like I said, as we've gotten away from doing just traditional heavy barbell bench presses and shoulder presses. The other thing that I want to mention is you don't really need to go very heavy on this exercise. The goal is to keep constant tension on the muscles and to be able to do sets of about 5 to 7 or 8 reps in really good form. You don't want to start swaying around and having to jam your head forward to get the bar behind your back. So keep the weights a little bit lighter and then increase the weights as you get more accustomed to the exercise. The other thing that I want to mention when you're using the Bandbell bar is rather than hanging one heavy weight on each side, I prefer to hang a bunch of lighter weights on each side to get to the weight that I want to work with when I'm using this bar, because the more weights that you have suspended on the bar, the more chaotic the response of the barbell is when you start pressing and the weights start moving. So again, if you're not familiar with the Bandbell bars, go to, I think it's bandbell.com is their website. They make a variety of bars. We've got the Earthquake bar here, but they've got the Rhino Flex bar. They've got a bunch of different bars now. This is the Earthquake bar. It's, like I said, it's used quite a bit here with a lot of the athletes that I train. It's a really effective bar when you're talking about bringing some health back to your shoulders and using basic traditional exercises like bench presses and shoulder presses and things like that. So if you've got some mileage on your shoulders a little beat up and you're trying to restore some strength and function to the shoulder joint, definitely use the Bandbell bar for your exercises. And I definitely encourage you to look at incorporating the Bradford press into your training as one of your pressing exercises. Like I said, done with the Bandbell bar, it takes this exercise up to a new level. And just to reiterate some of the key points about the Bradford press, you're going to start with the bar at your collarbone, keeping the elbows under the bar. You're going to press the bar just high enough so that the barbell clears the head. And rather than poking the head forward to get the bar behind, what you want to do is squeeze those elbows back, pinch those shoulder blades together, like I said, just like you're doing a row. You're going to squeeze those shoulder blades together, pulling the elbows back, and then that's going to be able to clear the head to get the barbell down to the shoulders and the back. If you can't get down to the shoulders, take the barbell to ear level or as far as you can. But over time, you want to try to increase the range of motion as you're doing this exercise. So what you find is your shoulders are tight, if they're beat up, if you have a hard time bringing the barbell to behind your head. By doing this exercise over time, you're going to open those shoulders back up. You're going to gain mobility, but you're going to gain strength through mobility. And like I said, if you got mileage on your shoulders, this is a great way to restore shoulder health and strength. So hopefully you enjoyed this video tip. Stay tuned for the next one, and as always, stay strong and stay healthy.